Hey, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble all of the pieces in my Witch Cat Shadowbox project. So you will need to have everything cut out before you start. Now I cut all of this out on my Cricut Maker, but I'm not showing you all the individual steps to do that in this video. However, I do have those steps available in a video tutorial on my website in my resource library. So there is a link to that below, and I have versions for any Cricut machine, and then also the ScanNCut machine and any Silhouette machine as well. So looking at the steps in Cricut Design Space, Silhouette Studio, and Brother Canvas Workspace. So if you need that information, please check out the link in the video description to go to my resource library and get access to those videos. So for this one, we're just going to assemble all of the components. Now, there are quite a few components to the cat here, as you can see. And so these are all, some of them are really, really tiny. And I would suggest, after having cut out my whiskers, that you use a pretty lightweight cardstock for the whiskers, since they are super, super thin. And mine was a little bit heavy, so they're not perfect, but you know, close enough. All right, so we will be assembling those shortly, but I did want to also show you the yellow is the very back layer, followed by the night sky, followed by the tree, and then the fence with its backlight, and this is the backlight for the tree, and then the shelf or windowsill for the cat, and then the top piece. And then I size this all to 8x8, so I have an 8x8 shadow box here. It's about maybe an inch deep and 8x8 on the inside. And then I'm also going to try putting some of these little fairy lights in there to see how we can get some cute mood making going on for our Halloween shadow box. So these are tiny and they light up, and we'll add those. And then you're also going to need some good glue. You are also going to need something to add dimension in between each of these layers to stack them apart from each other. You can easily use foam tape for that if you have that handy. I am going to be using these strips of foam core, basically, that I have cut. So I've cut them to 8 inches by about 1/4 of an inch wide, and I'm going to be using glue to add those to the edges of each of my square pieces. So I've got a bunch that are 8 inch and a bunch that are 7 inch, because they're going to go around all 4 sides. Okay, so those are the main things that you're going to need. I am going to set most of this to the side, and we're going to assemble the cat. Okay, let's talk about the cat. The cat has a lot of pieces to it. This is the most complicated part of the shadow box. So a couple things I want to explain here. The white is like the backlight from the moon on the cat. So it's best to start with the white and then build on top of it. That is not what I did when I originally filmed this video. So when you see the cat as I'm assembling the rest of the shadow box, it's not going to look quite the same as this one. Very similar, but not quite. So I learned a better way to do this, so I'm showing you that. All right, so the easiest thing to do is to start gluing the body onto the backlight, and you'll see that the backlight is very skinny. So, you know, do your best to line it up. It's not gonna, probably won't be perfect, and if you get it more like on one side than the other, that's okay, because if you think about how the way light hits things, it's going to be a little bit more on one side. All right, so I'm gonna just start gluing things on. Hopefully you can see that border is like super skinny. And then the next thing you want to do is glue the feet on. Okay, and then the feet, the paws, I guess they are, go on top of the feet. And they kind of fit, so you have to sort of eyeball which one goes where. And then the next thing you'd want to put on is the head. So now I'm going to put the whiskers on. The whiskers are a little bit tricky to line up, but they don't really have a backlight because they are about the same thickness as the white. So just get them lined up as close as you can. And you can kind of tell which is which because on this side the top is thicker and on this side the bottom is thicker. So that's kind of how I figured out which is which. And you can see these are really, really delicate. So I do suggest that when you cut these out, you use a lightweight cardstock. Okay, about like so. Then the muzzle goes on the front, in the front middle. And then the nose goes sort of long edge up. Okay, so now we're gonna do the eyes, and the eyes are the part that are gonna have the most personality, basically. So the green, tiny little green dots are the pupils, so don't lose those. Gotta keep those. I'm gonna push them off here. And I've designed the eyes to go flat side up. So kind of, I don't know, like Batman? Like it looks like a Batman mask, kind of. But you certainly could change that and, you know, change how you position them to give him like him or her a little bit more personality. You know, if you switch them around, they're gonna look different. If you turned them this way, they will certainly look different. You know, like that kind of thing. But I'm gonna go with the Batman look. And then depending on the position that you put the pupils on the eyes, you can have him, you know, looking at something. The cat could be more angry, happier. You know, you can go mad or glad depending on how you position them. So I'm gonna make him look a little mad. He's a little bit cross-eyed. All right, so our cat's mostly done. Now, if you want to add the hat, it has the band and then the hat itself. So the band just goes across the bottom of the hat before the brim, and then you just put the hat on the cat by he's really just gonna have glue across the lower part of it. And I try to position the hat kind of on an angle, just over the top edges of the eyes. Okay, and there's your completed cat. So this is the most difficult paper piecing that you're gonna have to do for this shadow box, is just get your cat ready to go. All right, so let's return to the assembly. And now I want to put my outline layer onto the tree. So again, this is going to be this is a really, really thin outline. So you're just basically going to line up the tree and try to get it outlined like so. So that's ready to go. All right, so now I'm going to start putting my foam core strips onto the various panels of the shadow box. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the blue. And I know that this is the front because like the big star is in the upper left. I just have kind of remember that. And the tree is gonna fit into these spaces here. So that's kind of a way to tell what's the front and what's the back. So I'm basically trying to line up my little foam core strips right along the edges. So I've got like the two 8x8s on the top and the bottom, and I'm doing the 7x7s in the center. So it's going to be supported on all four sides, like so. And then I'm just going to take my glue and run a line of it down the center of the foam core strip, and then press it and line it up nicely with the edge. Okay, one down. Now this fence layer, we want to put the backing on first. So just like we did for the tree and the cat. So it's pretty easy to do because you just line up the bottom with the bottom basically. And then it should just naturally create that funky shadow on the fence. So I'm going to just put glue on the bottom here. All right, so that layer is put together. So now we're gonna put the foam core strips on the back of this guy. And these are obviously a little bit trickier because the sides of the panel are 1/2 inch and the foam core is 1/4 inch. So I am trying to go as close to the edges, the outer edges, as possible. Okay, so hopefully you can see, I've tried to get to them as pretty close to the edges. So I've got like about a 1/4 inch on the inside where I could run some lights. Okay, and then the last two are pretty straightforward. The shelf or the windowsill that the cat is sitting on, just straight along the edge. And then the black frame just covers up the purple and finishes the entire thing off. That is obviously also just right along the edge of the frame. Okay, and while these are drying, I'm gonna put a few little bits of this foam core on the back of the tree just to give it a little bit of lift. You can see how the branches of the tree sort of fit in these spaces between the stars. So that's how you know you got your tree correct. Okay, so the cat sits here. So I'm gonna put some foam tape on the back of the cat, especially the body, so that he has some support behind him. I do think I'm going to put a couple pieces behind this fence. Alright, and that is our shadow box, but now we got to actually put it together. And I want to see how my lights are going to work for this. So the first layer I'm going to put them on is the sky layer. If you don't think those lights are close enough together, you can twist the wire together to bring them closer without harming them. So that's really nice. Because I do want to have like lights all throughout the stars. Okay, so I lost all the footage of my putting the lights on, but I wanted to show you what it looks like now that it's done. So I started from the back, so the sky layer that you saw me kind of starting with, and then I ran the cord around and I used Scotch tape to hold everything down, and then I ran the lights out through this side, this little gap here, and then it goes on to the next layer, which is the fence layer. So I just put lights right along the top well, it's really the bottom edge of the fence, and across the bottom, and ran it back, and so it comes out the same side, and then it runs up just along the edge of the purple layer, so behind the cat, and then it comes out on the right. So then, and then the black layer doesn't have any lights. So it's really just the 3 middle layers that have the lights. And then the yellow goes in the back, and the black goes in first. All right, so I've got my shadow box here, and the glass is on the front, as you can see there. And then I'm going to fit my layers in. Well, I'm going to put the black layer in first. Okay, and then my lights are running out the corner here. And then on the back panel, I trimmed a corner off just with a craft knife, like a utility knife, so that the wire can come out without any problems. And then on the back, I put a piece of Velcro on the back of the lights, and then the opposite piece of the Velcro on the box, so I can just stick the lights right there. So here's our completed shadow box. So pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. I really, really love it. And then I'm going to turn the lights on. And you can't really tell, but let me turn my lights off. All right, and here is the lit version of the box with all the lights out. I think I kind of love it. I think it's awesome. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's really, really fun. You're seeing a lot of the lights out of the edges, which don't really show in person, just so you know. So I hope I've inspired you today to try making a cool Halloween Witch Cat Shadowbox. All of the supplies, including the design file, are linked in the video description below. I also want to let you know about the Holiday Crafts for Cricut Makers event coming up October 12th through the 15th, 2022. During this free online event, 20 craft experts will be presenting some amazing Christmas and fall themed projects. I will be making a Christmas card with a removable ornament on October 15th. And if you register for the event, you will get the design file for my project for free. Information about this event is linked in the video description below. I am really excited about my Crafty Summit debut, so I hope to see you there. If you like this video, I would appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing. All 3 of those things really help out my channel. Thanks so much, and happy Halloween!